What's going on YouTube? Today is February 10th, 2026, and we've got some fresh Heroes of the Storm news. The patch that went out to the PTR in December has now been pushed out to live, and look at this. Is anybody shocked? I'm super shocked. There is a new skin. Yes, my man Gul'dan has gotten a new skin. He kind of looks like a weird Skeletor, and I'm here for it. The backstory of Toondan Gul'dan, freshly emerged from the tomb of Sargeras. Don't come at me, I never played World of Warcraft. It's Gul'dan, and this time he's truly reanimated. Most of the changes that were on the PTR look to have come through as you're going through the notes, indicating the orange ones are a change. There's a new skin, it wasn't on the PTR. We've got new content. In December they added a couple skins, and now here in February they've added some skins. I hope that this is a signal of things to come. I would love to see some more updates in the future, new skins, new characters, right? They just launched that little floating jetpack cat in Overwatch. Can we get a jetpack cat in Heroes of the Storm? So let's take a quick look. We're gonna have a little bit of a run through. All quests that can lose stacks will never cause the player to fall below milestone thresholds. I've never seen this myself, but this must have been happening. Basically, there are some traits that you can take that will have a threshold. Butcher, for instance, right? Get so much fresh meat and then you get a reward. What must have been happening is that the penalty was applied and they were falling below the thresholds. Sometimes you have to hit multiple thresholds and it kind of that trait line can level up more than one time. Pinnacle rewards are now named Mythic Rewards to give a more Blizzard feel. So mythic-y. So very mythic-y. This is just going to have some changes. There's going to be a lot of tooltip updates in the hero section, because a lot of heroes had pinnacle rewards. They're just getting renamed. It's not that big of a change. The following summoned units now lose health each second: creep tumors, demon lieutenants, demon warriors, gargantuan ghouls, hydralisks, roaches, rocket turrets, rush zombie scarabs, trinets, ultralisks, water elementals. All of them. Total health and duration of these summon units have been adjusted to compensate. So your summons don't sit around forever. They're going to slowly lose health, and they've had their health and duration adjusted to compensate for basically losing life every second. Structures now prioritize summon units when there are no remaining minions. So if you're standing under a tower and you have a summoned unit next to you and there's the minion wave's cleared, the tower is going to prioritize the summoned unit before it prioritizes you. Let's just stay underneath of the tower just a little bit longer, get a couple of extra hits off. Where we at? XP glow pickup sound is now also played when killing a minion and instantly yields XP. Yay! Updated the home screen and startup music. The home screen I was in earlier, it kind of has a Chinese New Year sort of feels. A lot of reds and yellows and lanterns. Looked pretty nice. I have my music turned really far down, so I didn't notice the startup music change, but there must have been one. So what else? General updates for maps. Watchtowers will now reset to neutral after 45 seconds of not being occupied. Volskaya Foundry. These are some changes, some differences from the PTR. The Triglav Protector base attacks have been increased from 50% damage to structures to 100% damage to structures. The Protector base attack damage decreased from 155 to 130, and the basic attack scale increased from 25% to 50% with 2 players. Warhead Junction, the burn duration is now displayed on structures affected by a warhead. So Warhead Junction is the one where they have the warheads are scattered. You go out there, you pick them up, you have to kind of sneak over and like dropping a nuke. It's really cool. It's a throwback to StarCraft for those of you who never played StarCraft. Alright, let's have a quick look. Azmodan, Globe of Annihilation now does 50% damage to non-heroes. Good. The globe is strong. Upon reaching 225 Annihilation, Globe of Annihilation no longer deals reduced damage to minions and mercs. Minions and mercs got categorized instead of non-heroes, being specific structures, as an example of something that wasn't impacted. Window to kill minions for Annihilation has been increased from 1.5 to 3. So, for those of you who don't play Azmodan, you throw the big ball, it hits, whatever it damages, if it's a minion, you have a few seconds to kill it. And if it dies, you don't have to be the one to kill it, but if it dies, then you get a little bit of a ping, you get a little check mark. And then when you get a whole bunch of check marks, the big ball does more damage. They've increased the window from 1.5 seconds to 3 seconds. They've effectively doubled it. So this could be a little bit of an impact. Asmodeus W, summoning a demon warrior. The damage has increased from 32 to, and the PTR had it at 85. It must have been too much. They've lowered it to 53. Now deals double damage to minions and mercenaries. So it will help you clear a wave, and it will also help you clear a camp. Great news. They no longer have a duration, but they lose 26 health every second. So before, they would last X number of seconds, and then they would die. Now they don't have a duration, but they lose 26 health every single second. And they no longer have immolation, and you can now have 2 charges, meaning you can spam it if you want to, and then wait for it to go back up. Talents, so these reworks, some of these reworks I might skip if it was just the naming convention. Wrath rework now provides 1 stack for every 2 basic attacks against a structure or hero. Level 7 Art of Chaos, extra annihilation amount reduced from 4 to 2. Bombardment, amount of time bombardment lasts reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. Amount of annihilation granted reduced from 2 to 1. For level 13 skills, the Brutish Vanguard now slows the attacked target by 30%. The level 16 Hell Rift damage bonus has been reduced from 75% to 35%. And at your level 20 skills, your trait lines rather, Inescapable Annihilation, Globe of Annihilation has unlimited range. You just you can yeet the balls of death across the field. People are never going to see them coming. Pride, the other trait available at level 20, move the baseline. It now requires 450 stacks, but the damage increase has went from 125 to 150. So there's a little bit more damage, but you have to get more stacks to have the base to get the effect. Personally, I think it's going to be very fun to play with Inescapable Annihilation on some maps. A Globe of Annihilation having unlimited range would be wild. That's crazy. We're gonna have some fun. Deathwing, Flying Dragon. Please, if you play Deathwing, stop trying to drop in the middle of the enemy team alone. I had a Deathwing in one of my games earlier that did that. It's just a PSA. Attack damage decreased from 155 to 117. So thwack. Doesn't hit as hard anymore. Form switch 1. Active ability removed. Deathwing now switches forms solely from landing. Deathwing now switches forms solely from landing. So there's no more, what you land in is what you stay in. You have to go back up and come back down. That's a kind of a big change for Deathwing. I was never a fan of him doing the, like when you tried to form swap, there would be a pause. I was never a big fan of that. This is even wilder in my opinion. So whatever he lands in, that's what he's going to be until you do it again. Molten Flame, the Q, base damage per second reduced from 21 to 19. Incinerate, cooldown increased from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Energy cost from 20 to 30. Damage increased former, just a little typo, 65 to 100. Lava Burst, that's the W. Cast time reduced from 1 second to 3/4 of a second. The cooldown has increased from 6 to 9. Energy cost increased from 15 to 25. Explosion damage increased from 30 to 35. And the explosion damage over time has increased from 6 to 7. Also, slow increase from 35% to 45%. So it'll, slow them down a little bit more. A few other changes. Onslaught, the E, bonus damage increased from 72 to 120. That feels like it's a big change. Damage increased from 38 to 60. Earth Shatter, the projectile speed has increased by 30%. Cataclysm, there's a new quest. Damage heroes with Molten Flame to gain 1 stack upon gaining 50 stacks for killing a hero. Gain 50 stacks for killing a hero. Mythic Reward, it's so mythic-y. Upon reaching 2,000 stacks. Cataclysm now deals 2,500% damage to structures and minions I am the cataclysm. I have lived a long time. I've played video games most of that time. I have never seen a note say damage increased 2,500%. I don't even know what to do with that information, to be honest with you. I feel like if the enemy Deathwing gets Cataclysm and it's dealing 2,500%, we just all stand in the base in a little safe area and drink hot toddies or something. I don't know. Dragonflight cooldown delay after dealing or taking damage is increased from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, and the cooldown reduced from 45 to 15. I think, just spitballing, I think that the cooldown reduction from 45 to 15 also plays along with the fact that you can't switch forms. So the idea is to get Deathwing up and down, like up into the air. Like, don't just land and walk around. You're a dragon, man. Go fly. Go do some stuff. Still with Deathwing, talents, level 1, Dragon Soul, healing increased from 75%, 150% to 100 and 200%. So we got a little bit more of an increase on the lower and upper thresholds. Level 4, Heat Wave, damage over time is increased from 6 to 9. Damage over time stacks reduced from 4 to 3. Initial damage bonus increased from 125% to 150%. Level 7 trait, Firestorm, damage increased from 70 to 77. This is a change from the PTR. Landing delay reduction increased from 2 to 3 seconds, and then no longer reduces cooldown of Dragonflight, presumably because they've already lowered it so far. Level 13, Fire and Fury, damage bonus increased from 30% to 40%. All right. Now we're up to Falstead. Just an easy one. Base, Lightning Rod, his W, range reduced by half of 0.5. Time between strikes increased from 0.8 to 0.9. So a little bit of a reduction in the big circle that comes up around them, and a little bit of an increase to how often they're striking out. Falstead is a good pick in ranked at the higher level, not because of this particularly, but because of the wind gust. So I'm interested to see how this is going to play out, and if he's going to move around in the rank scene. Jaina, Frost Queen, base, Frostbite trait, new quest. Deal ability damage to chilled heroes. Upon reaching 12,000 damage, unlock improved ice block, which allows Jaina to become temporarily invulnerable. Mythic Reward, upon dealing 30,000, ice block allows Jaina to move and cast while active. So this was a change from the PTR. In the PTR, they had played around with getting protected instead of a stasis, and now they're going to give her invulnerability, and once you get to 30,000 while she is invulnerable, she's allowed to move and continue to cast. I've played Jaina a little bit. That's kind of big. Like, getting the ability to go invulnerable is kind of like a safety button. Like, oh, I got overextended, boop, and then my team can catch up and save me. Now, boop, but I'm also still nuking you in your face. It's gonna be crazy. Talents, level 7, Ice Lance. Cooldown reduction increased from 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Level 16, Numbing Blast, root duration reduced from 1 second to 0.75 seconds. And level 20, the Winter Mute, Water Elemental, cast range and damage bonus decreased from 50 to 40%. Okay. Alright, Kel'Thas, talents, level 1 Convection, increased reward damage and health from 150 to 200 and 100, so just a 50 point gain on that one. That's it, small change. Kerrigan, base, Ravage Q. This is a change from the PTR. It doesn't look like the PTR had any changes for Kerrigan, so this is a completely new. Updated the quest. Enemies killed in a narrow proximity of Kerrigan provide stacks. Minion kills grant 1 stack. Hero kills grant 7 stacks. At 100 stacks, gain 125 ravage damage, and heroes now provide 14 stacks on kill. And at 250 stacks, gain 200 ravage damage. Kill window for receiving a free ravage charge has been reduced from 1.5 seconds to 0.75 seconds, or 3/4 of a second. So that's interesting. We'll have to play around with that. You know, see See how that tweak plays out. Muradin. All right, Stormbolt Q. Muradin Q. Go stun stuff. Perfect Storm quest removed. Just gone. It's yeeted. It got stormed out. New quest. Basic attack. Heroes affected by slows or stuns. Okay. So stun them and then whack them. Slows provide 1 stack and stuns provide 2 stacks. At 50 stacks, change from the PTR. Stormbolt pierces to hit an additional target, and Muradin's basic attack reduces the cooldown of Stormbolt by half a second. At 4 Mythic Reward, so mythic-y. At 200 stacks, Stormbolt's range is increased by 50% and its width is increased by 100%. Now pierces all targets. So Muradin's Q with a Mythic Reward is going to be a huge Stormbolt that just pierces everything and stuns up everything. That might be a little bit OP. I'm just thinking it through. Talent changes. Dwarf block, level 1. Block charges reduced from 4 to 3. Give him the axe. Move talent from level 7 to level 1. Okay, so give him the axe came out of 7 and went to 1, and it looks like at level 7 there's a new one. But before that, level 4 Sledgehammer no longer increases Stormbolt's cooldown reduction. Now increases Stormbolt damage to non-heroes by 500%. Okay. Level 7, this is the new one. If an enemy, this is called Perfect Storm. If an enemy hit with Stormbolt dies within 3 seconds, reset its cooldown. Change from the PTR. This can only occur once per 10 seconds, so it has an internal cooldown. So if an enemy with Stormbolt dies within 3 seconds, reset its cooldown. So you can do it once. 10 seconds is a pretty long time for a fight. So you can do it once, and then if we kill the first one, I can immediately turn and stun one more. But that's the limit, and then we gotta wait 10 seconds for it to come back up. Okay. Level 16, Dwarf Launch. Don't throw the dwarf. Range bonus reduced from 40% to 30. Okay. Level 20 skills, traits. Mountain King, new Thunderclap and Dwarf Toss have an extra charge. Okay. So Thunderclap and Dwarf Toss both get extra charges for Mountain King. And they've removed Rewind completely. Just gone. So, some good changes, I think. I'm going to be interested to see how the Perfect Storm, like the new Stormbolt, plays out. And I kind of like the change with the Perfect Storm, being able to chain it to 2. Like, you catch one, your team jumps on them, takes them out, you can stun one more. That's a good change. It's going to be a little bit more interesting to play him and play against him. Alright, we got a few more. Murky. Murky now gains 35% shield for 10 seconds upon reviving. I don't like playing against Murky, so just hearing that he's getting a shield is making me a little sad face, but that's okay. Spawn an egg, D. Egg now regenerates quickly instead of having a shield. Okay, that's fair. Slime, the Q, now applies its debuff to enemy structures and deals 50% damage to structures. Interesting. So they're going to let the Q impact structures. Okay. Fish W, damage reduced by 20%. Fair. That has always felt a little bit. If the other team doesn't know to just target it or can't target it, it's always felt a little bit strong. Detonation time reduced from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. 2.75 seconds. 2 and 3/4 of a second. That sounds so weird to say. So if you're playing against the Murky, or you're playing the Murky, when you throw the pufferfish out, it's got a little health bar and it can be targeted so it can die. If you're the Murky, you can be a little bit more brazen with it because they have 1/4 of a second less reaction time to be able to hit it enough times. And if you're playing against the Murky, you have less of a window to make a decision on if you're going to try to take it out or if you're going to let it pop. It also means that you have 1/4 of a second less time to get out of its radius. New quest. This is for pufferfish. Change from the PTR. Killed slimed enemies or hit them with pufferfish. Provides 1 stack per minion, 5 stacks per hero or structure. At 200 stacks, basic abilities now deal full damage to structures. Mythic Reward. So mythic-y. At 400 stacks, Murky gains 50% health and increases in size. Oh! Just Big old merc running around. Okay. I like the 50% health gain and increase in size. That might make for some more interesting late game murky play. It kind of always gave me the impression of falling off a little bit at the very late game. 50% health will let him be a little bit more aggressive. Talent changes for the Merkster. Level 1 egg hunt. Talent gone. Gone. Shell game. New. Murky can now place 2 eggs, but randomly revives from one of them. Increases the cooldown of placing an egg to 30 seconds and goes on cooldown if either egg dies. That's kind of interesting. I don't like the randomly revives from one of them. I think personally, I'd like to be able to place 2 eggs. The cooldown go to 60 seconds if either egg dies. And I get to choose where I spawn. I think that might be a little bit better. Because the random part might be rough. Level 10, March of the Murlocs. Damage increased by 4%. He did not need that. Blizzard, he did not need that. Level 13, Eggshell. Rework! Murky gains a shield equal to 35% of his health upon placing an egg or when one of his eggs die. And level 13, Fish Tank. Healing reduced from 25% to 20%. Level 16, Wrath of Cod. Wrath of Cod. Coming to theaters near you. Reduce the amount of time needed to deal the full damage over time from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. Okay. And level 20s, lots of changes. Big Tuna Kahuna. Talent removed. Great name, talent gone. Faster Fish. Pufferfish detonates 80% faster. That's his W. So you can make the pufferfish almost instant. Making Inky. Great name. Cooldown reduction reduced from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. And Never Ending Murlocs. No longer deals damage. No longer deals reduced damage to structures. Amen. Never Ending Murlocs was a very annoying thing to play against in a couple modes and a couple maps. Simply because he would just sit back, throw it out. And that was it. Like, you were done. Like, he's just gonna do it forever. No longer dealing damage to structures means, yes, he can do it infinitely, but you can kind of sit back and wait. Like, it becomes a chess game then. You don't have to move forward into him. Alright, we got a couple more heroes and then some bug fixes. Sylvanas, talents, level 4, Mercenary Queen. Now also causes Sylvanas' basic attacks to instantly apply 3 stacks of black arrows to all mercs. That's good. Sylvanas was already good at clearing. This is just going to help her clear camps out a little bit quicker. That's it for Sylvanas. Thrall, basic attack damage decreased from 173 to 167. Level 1 Crash Lightning, Mythic Reward damage bonus increased from 270 to 325. Echo of Elements, Mythic Reward also now allows Chain Lightning to bounce back to the same target. Okay. Not a lot for Thrall, but the base attack damage decrease, that might be a little bit of a pain. Alright, Tyrande. I never played WoW, I don't know exactly how to say that. Tyrande. Drop a comment, give me the phonetic spelling. Changes from PTR. There's no longer a mana reduction from 500 to 450, it is still at 500. Sentinel Shot, W, mana cost increased from 55 to 55 from 50. So her W is now going to cost 55, not 50. Lunar Flare, new quest. Hitting a hero with Lunar Flare increases its damage by 5% up to 250%. After hitting 10 heroes, increase Lunar Flare's range by 30%. After hitting 20 heroes, Sentinel now pierces the first hero hit. Mythic Reward. So mythic-y. After hitting 45 heroes, Tyrande's Torrendorers basic attacks occasionally trigger a Lunar Flare. Okay. Now restores 25 mana per enemy hit. Mana cost increased to 65 from 60. Fair enough. Starfall, mana cost increased from 85 to 75, and Shadow Stalk mana cost increased from 85 285 from 75. So all of the mana increases are differences from PTR, but they also did not reduce the total mana pool. So we still have 500, and then the individual, instead of reducing the pool, we've increased the cost of the actual skills. Some talent changes. Level 1 Ranger no longer provides Pierce. Moonlit Arrows cooldown reduction reduced from 3/4 of a second to half a second. Move talent from level 7 to level 1. So Moonlit Arrows used to be at level 7, now it's at level 1. Something new showed up in level 7. And then True Shot Aurora no longer passively increases Tyrande's attack damage. Now also applies to Tyrande upon activation. Okay, level 7 Elowane's Gift. This is the new one. Grants 20% spell power for 10 seconds after hitting an enemy with Lunar Flare. Okay, that's probably gonna be good. She could try to hit the Lunar Flare and then maybe do one of her other skills or try to heal a teammate. Level 20 trait, new. There's a new one. Commander of Sentinels. Sentinel now has an additional charge. If memory serves, Sentinel is the little bird thing that flies out and shows off the map, having an extra charge. Okay. All right, and then we have some bug fixes. Alarak, level 10 deadly charge, fixed an issue that caused his deadly charge to not be activated by clicking the left mouse button if it occupies the trait slot. Anna, aim down sights can now be toggled while affected by a silencing effect. Oh, that's good. That makes sense. She should not have lost the ability to toggle that. So toggling aim down sights or her passive puts her in that real slow, like it increases her range but it makes her walk real slow. And being silenced and not be able to toggle out of it doesn't make sense because it's just the way she's moving. It also kind of is unfair because she's trapped herself with the slow movement. And then if you silence her and she can't get out of it, silence became like a CC when it shouldn't have been. Jaina's base Frostbolt fixed an issue causing Jaina's Frostbolt to not have its model updated by Dreadlord Jaina or Lunar Jaina. Orphea's level 4 Allegrissimo fixed an issue that could cause Allegrissimo's cooldown reduction to not be granted when hitting a hero at Shadow Waltz's end. Sylvanas, her possession, fixed possession not showing in the quick cast menu settings, and fixed possession not being correctly affected by cooldown reduction effects granted by allies. And last but not least, Mr. Tychus, his level 10 Commander Odin. This was not on the PTR, so this is new. Fixed an issue that caused Tychus's Odin to not display a cooldown for its thrusters ability. And that's it. That's what we got. So a lot of bug changes, a few little, I would say, reworks / tweaks for some of the champions, and of course my man Gul'dan Gul'dan Skin, brand new for the game, proving that Blizzard is showing the game a little bit of love and getting a little bit of dev time there. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll see some new characters. I personally, seeing the cat in Overwatch, I would love bring some of them champions from Overwatch over. Bring some of the Microsoft IPs in. Time will tell. Drop a comment, what's your favorite change, and do you think you're gonna pick up the Gul'dan Skin? Until tomorrow when we play another game of Heroes of the Storm, I'm Quicket, and you should have a good day, because it would be awesome if you had a good day. Not for any other reason. Okay, bye.